Hey everybody. So, spring is creeping around the corners here in Philadelphia, which has led to some uncommonly violent thunderstorms. But the less we dwell on the apocalypse these days, the better. I've got 3D footage processing on the computer over there, and it is time for another episode of Dan Records an Hour of the Wolf review, which is what this is here. Hi, how you doing? I am going to be doing reviewing two films in this particular episode. One is new, one is out on demand, and is pretty notorious. You'll know which one that is when I start talking about it. So let's get down to it, shall we? For those of you playing at home, you probably know the rules already. I am going to be recording just straight how I record my reviews for Hour of the Wolf, which means there's going to be a lot of fumbling and fumfering around. That stuff gets cut out when it airs on Hour of the Wolf. Also, there's going to be a little pause at the beginning for a few seconds so I can get some room tone that I use to filter out the room noise for the final cut of the review. And once again, we don't know whether this review is actually going to air on Hour of the Wolf since the show is still on hiatus. But you'll get a little bit of it here. So, let's start this up. Recorder is running. Let's get some room tone. Okay, that should be enough. I take off my glasses again. Still waiting for my progressive lenses to show up. I also put on order because those glasses are way too big. I misjudged the size of them, so I ordered smaller pairs, which should arrive in another 2 weeks because that's the way things are going now. So hopefully I'll get the progressive lenses before I get the cheapo backups. In any case, let's begin, shall we? Hour of the Wolf movie review air date. Hold on, let me adjust the microphone. That's a little better. Do it again. Hour of the Wolf movie review air date. We're going to say April 16th, 2020. Extraordinary. Take one. I'm Dan Persons, and this is my Hour of the Wolf review. There's a new Irish supernatural comedy film out now called Extraordinary. It's available as a virtual cinema offering, which is a whole weird system where the film is treated as if it was actually running in the theater where it was booked. Let's start again. Fumbled a little bit too much. Take two. I'm Dan Persons, and this is my Hour of the Wolf review. There's a new Irish supernatural comedy film out now called Extraordinary. It's available as a virtual cinema offering, which is a whole weird system where the film is treated as if it was actually running in the theater where it was booked, but you purchase and watch the film online. I'm all for local theaters being supported in these times, so if what I'm about to talk about sounds at all interesting, do please partake. Now, I pronounce the title Extraordinary, which is not what we do in the States here. We say extraordinary, but the title is deliberately written that way as two words, extraordinary. The film even finds a way to have one of the characters point that out. Not often film comments on its own title. And there's a very clear point to doing it that way. And there's a very clear point to doing it that way. in telling the tale of Rose, a driving instructor with the ability to communicate with the dead, played by comedian Maeve Higgins, and Martin, a loving father played by Barry Ward, whose daughter has fallen under the spell of a washed-up, Satan-worshipping rock star played by Will Forte, and is being groomed for virgin sacrifice. The film settles on a very homely, comfortably, why am I stumbling on that? The film settles on a very homely, comfortably tatty ambience for its supernatural antics. A garbage can is possessed by the spirit of a recycling-obsessed, philandering husband. A deer's head weeps 7-Up tears, and Martin is haunted by the nagging presence of his dead wife, whose manifestations center around making sure the car tax gets paid and the dog gets wormed. Rose, meanwhile, manifests her traumatized personality. Her talent inadvertently led to the death of her father, who was the host of a tacky, unexplained mystery-style TV show. Through a reticent personality peppered with quiet, passive-aggressive asides. She's sweet, but she's not a dummy. Nice cozy performances all around, except for Will Forte, who does his broad Will Forte thing and sticks out like a sore thumb. It isn't that I haven't enjoyed him in other things, it's just that within the context of this story, more grounded, more serious would have worked better than just plain goofy. And an unevenness in tone haunts, forgive the pun, a lot of Extraordinary. Directors Mike Ahern and Enda Lauman want to hit certain beats, but don't deploy them in an effective way, so Rose's fears that her talents could get someone else killed feel awkwardly shoehorned in. Will Forte's rock star's fear of driving is the setup for him booking Rose as a teacher, but is never really exploited in the sequence, and a ticking clock scenario in which Rose and Martin have to recover the ectoplasm from seven exorcised ghosts to free Martin's daughter is backloaded in the runtime to the point that opportunities for both comedy and character exploration are squandered. What compensates are the performances from Higgins and particularly Ward, who not only brings a lot of appeal to his concerned father, but also, in volunteering to be possessed, does Peter Sellers' grade work playing the recycling ghost as a wackily twist. Does Peter Sellers' grade work playing the recycling ghost as a wackily? Okay. Sometimes I stumble on things that I'm probably pronouncing correctly, but that sound weird when I'm saying it. Wackily. Okay. Go back. Does Peter Sellers' grade work playing the recycling ghost as a wackily twisted old perv and portraying... Okay. Actually, I kind of lost the thread. Okay. Let me go back to the story. What compensates are the performances from Higgins and particularly Ward, who not only brings a lot of appeal to his concerned father, but also, in volunteering to be possessed, does Peter Sellers' grade work playing the recycling ghost as a wackily twisted old perv and portraying his own dead wife as a coarse, lackadaisical nag with a lit cigarette that magically sprouts from his mouth every time the woman takes possession. That miracle cancer stick may actually be my favorite special effect in the film. I don't know whether it was practical or CG, but it's a hoot. but it's a hoot. The film actually features a lot of charming effects, both practical and CG, including a discarded haunted toaster, that waves its power cord every time Rose passes, and a manifestation of Astaroth, humbly portrayed as a kind of super deluxe guy in a bedsheet. There's a clear desire for Extraordinary to be something of a cross between the epic magnificence of Ghostbusters and the more casual ambience of Shaun of the Dead. It doesn't quite get there, but it's still an enjoyable exercise. And just a quick capsule review here. I didn't hate the Happy Time Murders, which is now available on demand, as much as I think I was expected to. Not that it's a great movie or even necessarily a pretty good one. In attempting to do a raunchier version of Who Framed Roger Rabbit, where puppets stand in for cartoon characters, director Brian Henson, Jim Henson's son, yes, lands too hard on the notion that it'll be hilariously shocking to watch a puppet, say, ejaculate silly string for 1 minute straight, at the expense of any kind of narrative that would give the film meaning. But to be fair, Peter Jackson also overplayed his hand with the not dissimilar The Feebles, and the Happy Time Murders at least has more of a story to push it through, some clever interplay between characters, and it being a project out of the Henson Studios, some top-notch puppet performances, particularly a surprisingly engaging turn from Bill Beretta as the puppet detective. That's complemented with game performances from the live-action cast. The cast is in a class by itself. That's complemented with game performances from the live-action cast, including Melissa McCarthy, Elizabeth Banks, and Joel McHale. All told, there were fewer times when I was thinking, ooh, come on, then, okay, I'm with you, let's see what you've got. And there were more payoffs than I anticipated. The Happy Time Murders is overall a pretty uninspired knockoff, but if you got a hankering for watching Muppets act all grown up, it's still pretty entertaining. But if you want some really off-kilter entertainment, why don't you check out my YouTube series, Historama 3D, where we take public domain... Sorry about that. But if you want some really off-kilter entertainment, why don't you check out my YouTube series, Historama 3D, where we take public domain films and see what they look like with the added dimension of 3D. The most recent episode features the very appropriate for the times, but completely haywire Joan Catches a Cold, and we're in production on the horror film Lady Frankenstein, and might have that up this week or next. It's looking more like next week, actually. It's looking more like next week, actually. It's available in VR and through the YouTube VR app, or in red cyan anaglyph on your computer or mobile device through regular YouTube. Just do a search on Historama 3D, all one word. For Hour of the Wolf, I'm Dan Persons. There you have it. So that's it for this week. If you have any questions about what I'm doing here, or if you have comments on the review or anything else, comment below. If you do have comments, do me a favor, be polite. We're all sort of on edge here, so let's be nice to each other. And hopefully I'll see you next week. Take it easy.